Hi, I'm Robyn and welcome to Well Conceived Business. We help online business owners within health and wellness to create a business and life that is not only well paid, but well lived. Here you'll find honest and refreshing conversations about what it takes to create a business around your life, what healthy hustle looks like, as well as insights and tips on growing your audience, your signature program, your profit, and your peace. Ready? Let's go. Hi, and welcome to the Well Conceived Business podcast. Now, before we start this episode, I do need to let you know that I'm going to drop some figures on you and some math on you. But even if you are going for your morning walk, you're sitting in the bath relaxing, and I hope you are getting some time for yourself, don't worry, because you're also going to see a lot of what I'm talking about here reflected on my Instagram feed. So if you're like, hold up, what did she say? I need to go back and look at the figures of what she's just mentioned. Hey, go and check out Launch Easy Life on Instagram, because that's where I'm going to circle back and you can scroll through and really have a look at the figures and what this all looks like. But we are talking today about that magical figure of $100,000. And we are talking about your 100K signature program roadmap and what that could look like and a potential timeline for success in your business and for how you might go about stepping into not only more time, but more money in the business that you run. And we don't really get to that point without first talking about the giant load of burnout that is just seeing patients or clients on a one-to-one basis, because the majority of life coaches, naturopaths, acupuncturists, dietitians who I meet are stuck in this cycle of charging somewhere between $100 and $160 per session. In fact, I have worked with several nutritionists who charge as little as $80 per session. And let me tell you, that amount is going to keep you in poverty, because you don't really see the iceberg of all of the things that you have to do, because revenue is not the same as profit. And you have expenses to run in your business. So let's say that even that you take home 50% of what it is that you charge. So let's say you're charging $80 a session for return patients. I do hope you are charging more than that. Let's say you take home 50% of that, because you've got, like the place that you rent, your charges for your website, all of those kind of things. You take home 50% of $80, that's $40. But then let's also say that there's 50% of your time is spent replying to emails, trying to show up on social media, ordering more herbs, whatever it is. And let's say that, so 50% of the time that you have available is seeing patients, and 50% of the time that you have available is all of the other admin that you have to do, bookkeeping, tax, all of that stuff. You are earning $20 an hour if you are full. Nobody here signed up to do that. And the other thing that people don't realize, let's use $120 per session as a figure. That's exhausting, because that is seeing, if you want to earn $100,000 per year revenue, that's 833 sessions, which is a lot. It's exhausting as well, because not only is that a lot of people, and I find it when I do one-to-one coaching, I find it physically exhausting and emotionally exhausting to see more than like 6 or 7 people per week. That's 833 sessions per year, but it's exhausting because you have to always at the end of those sessions be like, would you like to book in for another session? Would you like to come back? And a lot of people are going to drop off and not come back. So it's going to feel like you are constantly pitching and selling new sessions. You can go and check out my Instagram on Launch Easy Life as well about why that's going to feel hard. Go through and binge all of the posts. So 833 people per year, that's if it's 48 weeks in the year, because not many people work 52 weeks of the year. That's 17 people per week. So if your sessions are 45 minutes to an hour, that's 17 hours if you are full of seeing patients. That's not including any time to do admin, any time to check out patient blood test results, do your bookkeeping, meet with your accountant, go to business networking, make sure you're posting on social media and doing all the things you're supposed to do. At a baseline, that is 17 people per week. So it's almost a full-time workload in your business. That's also 69 people per month. That's a lot of new patients that you need per month. So if you want either more time or more money, you're going to need to look at how you can do things differently. And your head is still going to meet the ceiling, even if you raise that to like $150 per session. You're still going to feel like you need a lot of people. You're still going to feel really stretched for time. So it's really just not a strategic and long-term way to start your business. And you might be thinking to me, no, but I need to see people in person or over Zoom to be able to chat with them about their specific concerns. And that's a chat for another day. But let's just say, for the sake of what we're talking about, that you don't need to see people for every single thing that you talk to people about. All right. Again, go to my Instagram to see why that's a thing. But your head is going to meet the ceiling very quickly. You're going to tap out at like 5, 10K per month with that model of your business. So if you're like, actually, can I please get to $100,000 without having to invest that much time, then listen up, because that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. But the other thing that I'm going to say is that marketing and social media is a lagging indicator, which means that what happens in your business, particularly when you get snowed under with seeing patients or clients, is that you'll be like, oh my God, like I'm full, I'm really busy. Oh, what is going on? And you'll drop balls like Instagram. Oh, I just don't have the time to post on Instagram. I don't have the time to do that. And what will happen is 2-3 months will pass by and you might still be really busy in your business before it then plummets. Then you start to post on Instagram again, but it takes like 1 or 2 months to build back up, right? By which time you're exhausted and you've already given up. So all around, it's an exhausting strategy because it doesn't allow you the time to be able to invest back into the marketing and social media activities that are non-negotiable in business. I'm sorry, but there's no way around it. If people don't know you exist and how to work with you and what that looks like and what you're the expert in, you are going to struggle to have a business that makes $100,000 or more per year. So marketing is a lagging indicator. It might seem okay at first to drop the ball on marketing, advertising, and promotions, but what will happen is it will then plummet a couple of months later, and you won't really realize it because it didn't happen, that you didn't fall off the cliff straight away. So how do we get to more money? Let's talk about it. If you were at the workshop, this is going to be very similar to what we spoke about. If you missed the workshop, don't worry about it. We will run an encore of that workshop. This is what I teach, a really simple yet sophisticated signature program. Like I said just earlier, let's not focus on whether that does or doesn't include one-to-one, because it can, but if we do it strategically, it's going to increase our revenue and it's also going to decrease our workload and use our one-to-one sessions for just our best fit clients in a really profitable and strategic way, which I'm not going to talk about today, but I did kind of allude to on the workshop that we will run again. If you didn't get access, you need to be following me on Instagram and join my email list. I promise I make my email list very worth your while, especially our Making Waves newsletter, where I just download all these really cool insights, tips, and strategies. Now, let's say that we develop a signature program that we start off with a fairly low price of $497 with the aim that we're going to build that up to about $997. It's really important when we're setting prices. I know that when we're in health and wellness, and particularly if you're a spiritual business owner, particularly if you are a life coach, I see people feel really allergic to charging prices like this. And I myself have always, I suppose because I've had a bigger audience, I've always hovered around the $497 mark. But here's what I would say: when you're hovering at $197 for your products, it's actually going to be really hard to make those sustainable, both financially and also to grow them, because you're not going to have the funds available for sustainability and longevity in your product. You won't have the funds to be able to expand that when you then dive into things like Facebook ads. So we really want to come from a place of, let's say, like 497 to 997. And let's talk about what's possible for you. So first of all, if you are wanting to reach $100,000 in revenue, 497 looks like just 200 people per year. So you've gone from needing 833 people per year right down to 200 people per year. And with a signature program, you can offer that like 52 weeks of the year. That actually looks like only 16 per month as opposed to 69 people per month. So your business just got way easier because you need less people. And conversion rates, believe it or not, are actually very similar at all of these price points. So it's a big myth that people like to buy really low priced products. And, like a $27 product might be a bit different, but that's an entirely different and profit strategy that's not built for profit. It's built for like awareness and conversions later down the line. Anyway, this is what's going to happen. The majority of people who I know running their businesses are not people who, we can look on Instagram at 23-year-old Becky who has all the time in the world and sits there and says, the way that I started my business was I spent one entire year working 16 hours per day during COVID lockdown. That's not my clients. Then you'll see like good old Denise, who's like, I spent $1 million in Facebook advertising and I have a nanny and 12 other people that support me in my house. That's also not typically my clients. And the majority of my clients as well can't work full-time in their business. They are raising, so you might be raising your business, number one, between one-to-one sessions. Number two, maybe it's between another part-time or full-time job. And maybe you are also raising babies and children. So you are running your business in the margins of nap times and 9-to-5s. So you don't have 16-hour days. And maybe one of the reasons why you haven't got started with your signature course or had the ability to truly strategically optimize the course or program that you already have is because you are stretched from a time perspective. I know many people who have wanted for years and years to get a signature program off the ground for years, like 3 years, but haven't. And one of the reasons they haven't is because they don't have the time. But one of the other reasons that they haven't is because it seems freaking overwhelming to have the sales page and the Facebook ads and the webinar and this and that and all of these things created at once. So what I teach is a sophisticated signature program framework together with a layered launch strategy. So what I'm about to talk to you about is built for people who are busy but are finally ready to have a sophisticated yet simple, super simple strategic framework off the ground and finally get it off the ground quickly. The first thing that you are going to do is temperature check your audience. Do not create a signature program or product without first validating demand for it. Temperature checking the market, checking your messaging is on point, checking your modules are on point before you go and create all of the modules. Because you can sit there and say, well, I asked people on Instagram stories or I sent an email to check if people wanted me to create this. And I can give you the news flash from experience. People are always going to be like, yes, great idea. Yes, I'd love that. They always say it, but saying that you want it and saying that you would love it is actually very different to putting your hand up and actually shelling out money for a product or program. So the very first thing that I want you to do if you are launching a signature program or product is to go and ascertain demand for that. And I call that an ascertain launch. I have 4 stages of launching. Let's do this baby steps, one thing at a time, and allow ourselves the space to create stuff. So you're going to do a temperature check launch. You want like 4 to 8 people in that beta round of your product. So what that's going to look like from a revenue perspective might be really low. So you might start off and be like, what? I'm only going to make like $1,500 from my very first program launch. So what we're going to do with a layered launch strategy is launch one little step at a time so that you get it off the ground finally, but that we do things bit by bit. If you're a health and wellness practitioner and you're growing your business, you know that Instagram is unrivaled in its ability to grow, connect, and convert your audience all on the one platform. But it's not just about going viral and reaching a bunch of people. It's about grabbing your Cloud9 clients' attention in a way that positions you as an authority and a service provider. Want to know exactly how to do that? I have a free PDF case study with 3 example posts that will give you an insight into 3 different types of posts you can create today to help you do just that. Check out our show notes or visit launcheasylife.com/social to get your hands on this free PDF copy today. The very first thing that you are going to do, so we have 4 launch stages. We have the ascertain launch, the all-out launch, the amplified launch, and then the always on funnel launch, right? So I'm going to talk to you about that. And what we focus on when we start is these 2 first phases of getting you up and running. And I can tell you these first 2 phases was what I sat on with the Fertility Warrior Intensive and my program and product for the longest time. So you can get these 2 up and running and off the ground. And then it's your choice what levers you want to pull in order to expand and grow that revenue. So your very first launch, the whole purpose of this is to temperature check the market. It's one thing for people to, you can say temperature checked on Instagram stories and asked people like, do you want to receive a 30-day program on improving your diet with endometriosis? And all these people are going to say, yes, do it. They're going to cheerlead you because they love you. They love what you're putting out there. They're like, great idea, right? Maybe you put out an email and say, who would be interested in this? And all of these people are going to hand raise and put their hand up. But there's a very big difference between people saying, yeah, that's great, and people actually opening up their wallets and paying you. So before you create any of the actual program, you're going to put together your offer framework, but you're not going to go and sit and record modules because number one, sitting and recording your modules will take years if that's the strategy that you are going to use. Sometimes task expands to the time we give it. I guarantee you that if you go and create all of the modules before you launch your program or product, it's going to take a very long time. What you're going to do is put the feelers out to the market and test and ascertain demand by getting them to pull out their wallets. You are only aiming in that first launch for 4 to 8 people. If you get 4 people into that initial launch at $497, that's nearly $2,000 in your first launch. In your second launch, or in your first launch, if you get 8 people, hey, that's $4,000 just in your first launch, right? So what you could do, let's say you join the Well Conceived Mastermind, you go through our framework, we have all of this downloadable stuff that you can get up and ready. We have email templates. It's like a couple of emails and a tiny little bit of build up. $4,000 potentially on your first launch if you have your audience elements on point. And what's going to happen is that's going to then, number one, pay you upfront to get started. This is going to give you a bit of breathing room to get started. But what's also going to happen is it's going to then commit you to delivering the program with your very hottest and warmest audience who love everything that you do, who are going to be so much more likely to give you open and honest feedback and social proof. What's going to happen is you'll deliver this live round very differently. Week by week, either record modules or do the calls or meet with people, whatever it is, in a very live way. You're going to do this because it is going to give you live and real-time feedback. I've done this many times with my programs and products. Example in Point Pop and Podcast. We ran that program live, but as we were going through, there was one area where people were like, I see this on the screen and I want to know how do I get that as well and how do I do that? So then we were able to add, shift and change the modules on the flow of the program to incorporate that area. Sometimes you cannot see the wood for the trees and you have to take people through that experience in order to get the feedback that then has you developing that program as you go with them and receive the real-time feedback so it can be the best that it can be right out the gate. And then what's going to happen is, because people have been readily engaged in this program, you're going to get them to give you feedback. Cool, amazing, they're going to give you feedback, all right? Then what's going to happen is you give yourself a break. So let's say that you join Well Conceived Mastermind now, beginning of June. You get started, you read some things, and you kick it out the gates in July with this signature program framework. Boom. Let's say you've already got a little bit of an audience, right? If you don't, we show you how to build that. But let's say that you've already got a little bit of an audience. You hit that out the gates, right? At $497 special price. You have 8 people say, yes, I'm going to join. That's $4,000 right out the bat. And what's going to happen is you're then going to deliver the program live. Everybody feels really scared about this. And everyone's like, oh my God, am I really going to be able to deliver it? You will. Because if people have paid you $4,000 to show up and you've already put calls in there, you will deliver the program. But what's going to happen is, instead of creating that program taking years, it's actually going to take you just a few months. So you will get, maybe to the end of August or September, you will have, number one, developed your offer and your program. You will have delivered your offer and program. So it will all be sitting there ready to go. And then you've done that part. And the thing about a signature program and a signature framework is leveraged for time. It's upfront, once and done activities versus ongoing activities that don't end. It's like an investment. You invest it once and it continues to deliver results without needing your time. This is how you start to not only optimize for time and money, because when you free up time in delivery, when you automate and systemize and strategize the way that you deliver your program and get your time back, you have more time to invest in the things that you need to be doing that you're probably not doing, or not doing as well as you could in that front end capacity, marketing, sales, authority, etc. So what we're doing is investing time and then being able to make deposits into our life of time and money later. So in July, you launch your Ascertain launch. Really simple, really easy to get off the ground quickly. We are going to do that first round of people. We're going to get paid to do that. And then what we do is we come into October and we have the space and capacity in September. You have all of the templates, the cheat sheets, whatever. You go through, you create all of your elements. You do a breakthrough event. So this is an event that is designed to convert people, like a webinar. You'll have a sales page, all of those elements that come along with a sale, with program launch, but you've already done the hard work in the delivery, right? Let's say, because this is a main round, you charge $997 for that and you sell 10. So I'm not talking about huge numbers of sales here, right? And having to have a huge audience. Let's say you sell 10 of those. Well, that's $10,000, right? So in October, you sell 10 places. You've invested a lot of energy upfront into building out repeatable assets, once and done activities, the sales page, the webinar, etc. And you've now ticked that box of the sales, marketing, and promotions elements, basics that you need for a launch. 10 grand, check. You then have the option to continue just building your audience organically, refining your product, simple refinements. So for example, if you just go through and let's say you're converting at 3%, if you shift that conversion to 5% on the sales page without a lot of additional work, you've almost doubled your money, right? Let's say that maybe, whatever it is, maybe you invest in some Facebook ads, and we have this formula called an amplified launch, is where we add on little bits of profit. Maybe that's through Facebook ads and Facebook ad strategy. Maybe that's through private product sales and VIP upgrades on the back end for people, right? And maybe your next launch is 30 sales. Maybe you haven't added on all those upsells, It's 30 sales. And that's because you've learned how to strategically grow your audience. You've built momentum through the past launches that you've done. You've now got all of your assets already done. You've already got all of the delivery on point and nailed down. People are loving the program. You've generated a machine that continues to build testimonials for you. So you're getting your time back because you have the time and capacity to be able to promote and grow your audience on the front end. And this time you sell 30 programs, well, that's 30 grand. You then have the ability, and we coasted with the Fertility Warrior Intensive at like this 30 to 45 sales period for a very long time. And what we did was just rinse and repeat. This is how, in 6 hours per week, I was able to reach $100,000 with my online course, right? Was because, and we used like a strategic upsell system on the back end when we were doing that, but we just would rinse and repeat our sales once a quarter. We have payment plans for people as well as paying full. So we have that trickle of income in the other months, but you could then sit there and in December, relaunch right at the end of the year is actually a really great time to launch. You make a 30 grand sale and all of a sudden you've now got from June, July, right up until December. And all of a sudden you have a business that's generated more than $40,000 in that time. In comparison to being a nutritionist, naturopath, dietitian, life coach, whatever, who's continuing to be on the treadmill of charging $120 per session, you've decided to invest your time and effort into creating this signature product that is going to work for you. So if where you want to be is at $100,000 revenue with less time, then it's really something that you need to consider. And the question is, where do you want to be in December of this year? I highly recommend investing your time into refining your business strategy and structure and incorporating a signature program into your framework as the hero of your business, because that's what's really going to allow you to then have the time, space, and capacity to show up, to market your business, to refine what you do, and to really grow your business, whilst also giving you the headspace and the physical and emotional energy to do that. I hope that has helped. Like I said, I've discussed a lot of numbers. So maybe you are on a walk, having a bath, you're driving in your car, whatever it is, and you're like trying to calculate like that meme on the internet. Go and check out my Instagram at Launch Easy Life if you would like to learn more. And if you're like, oh, damn, I need this and I want a signature program, the doors are currently open to the Well Conceived Mastermind. You can apply and ask whatever questions that you have. And just applying for the mastermind doesn't mean you're committed to join, but gives you the opportunity to connect with me. We can talk about your business. We can talk about your strategy and your structure and what's going on for you and whether or not the mastermind is appropriate for you. But if you want to learn more about the mastermind and what this is all like, head to launcheasylife.com/mastermind and you will find all the details about the beautiful high touch program that we've curated and how you can join and all of the details. Thank you so much for listening today. Again, go to Instagram. You'll find more details there. Okay, bye. We are done with the meat and potatoes of this episode, but I am not letting you go just yet, my friend. Before you jump off, I have 3 quick things that I would love to share with you. Number 1 is thank you so much for listening today. If you'd like to hear more about growing your visibility through Instagram, podcasting, or Pinterest, creating or launching or growing your signature program, automations, or many more online business nuggets of gold, pause now, hit that subscribe button because we are here for you weekly. Number 2 is if you would like to learn more about working with us and joining our signature program, the Well Conceived Mastermind, which is unlike any mastermind you've seen before, check out our show notes below and you will find all the links to join the waitlist or sign up and join the mastermind now. And number 3, lastly, if you do nothing else, make sure you come and find us on Instagram for daily behind the scenes and hugely savable and value-packed content. You will find us at Launch Easy Life. Well, that's it from me today. Now go out there and create your well-paid business and your well-lived life.